What began in June 2024 as a space to amplify autistic and neurodivergent voices has grown into something far bigger. A platform for raw, honest conversations about neurodivergence, disability, burnout, inclusion, mental health, and how our identities shape the way we move through the world. From the start, our mission has been clear: to go beyond the headlines, beyond stereotypes, and explore the real lived experiences that often go unheard. Over the past year, we've spoken with parents, professionals, educators, advocates, and everyday people, all united by a commitment to building a more inclusive and accessible world. But what's mattered most is the community. Those of you who listen, share, and remind us, finally, someone gets it. Thank you for being here. This is just the beginning.
Looking for authentic conversations that go beneath the surface? Tune in now to the Deep Dive podcast. Visit us at www.deepdiveau.net. That's deepdiveau.net. And follow us across your favorite platforms: YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Facebook. Just search at the Deep Dive AU. Join us as we dive deep into stories of neurodivergence, lived experience, and creating a more inclusive world. The Deep Dive podcast. Conversations that matter. Stories that connect.
This is the Deep Dive podcast. And here is your host, Michael Coles.
Alana Cameron is a speech therapist and the founder of NeuroNurture, a practice dedicated to supporting neurodivergent children and their families through neurodiversity-affirming therapy and education. With years of experience working across both pediatric and adult settings, Alana breathes a compassionate, strengths-based approach to communication, play, and emotional regulation. She's especially passionate about shifting the conversation from fixing to connecting, helping families, educators, and support teams create safe, supportive environments where children can thrive. Alongside direct therapy, Alana also provides professional training for teachers and caregivers, equipping them with practical tools to embrace neurodiversity in classrooms and homes. Alana Cameron, welcome to the Deep Dive.
Thank you for having me.
So how has your own experience of disability and/or chronic illness shaped the way you approach therapy with children and families?
So it definitely shapes how therapy goals are created and how we approach them. We need to keep them really flexible and adjust as needed because life is not perfect and linear. Things come up, things happen, and we need to make sure we actually respect that space and respect those things coming up to make sure therapy is as approachable as it can be. I make sure that we create space in sessions for any type of regulation, silence, reflection moments, or if parents just need to talk about something and to externally process something, then I make sure there's space for that. And I also consistently validate my client experiences and ensure that they know there is no overreaction to anything, and the quote unquote small things aren't also don't have to be small reactions. That's just not how it works. And I know from my experiences, small things doesn't mean that not big reactions don't happen.
Okay, so what challenges have you faced in balancing the dual identities of being both a therapist and somebody navigating health challenges?
Yeah, it's been a really tricky space. Before I was diagnosed, I job hopped a lot in my career, went to a few different jobs, not really knowing why. The environments and expectations couldn't work for me and made it really challenging to be there. So obviously that stress, my nervous system, then also impacted my chronic health conditions, and therefore I needed more time off work, which obviously had a flow-on effect with my clients and with my job positions. So
Okay, so were there moments where your lived experience has helped you connect more deeply with clients and their families?
yeah, so definitely initially when I got diagnosed a couple years ago, I told all my families, and the responses were mostly them then sharing, actually, I've really wondered if I'm neurodivergent, and when I filled out, all the things for my child's forms or what they struggle with, I've actually struggled with that myself. So it's actually created a really beautiful space to talk about those shared experiences and parents actually opening up I think, to someone for the first time about their potential neurodivergence. So that's been a really beautiful thing.
Okay, so NeuroNurture emphasizes moving from fixing to connecting. So, how does your perspective on this as a disabled and chronically ill therapist reinforce this shift?
Yeah, with my lived experience, it's really shown me that connection trumps everything. Connection to my community matters a lot because people in our community get it and they live it. So it validates those hard times. And we know that as humans, if we don't have a connection to someone, there's no emotional regulation, there's no sense of safety, and therefore, as a speech therapist, there's no functional communication that's actually going to happen after that.
Okay, so how do you integrate a strengths-based lens in your therapy while also respecting the realities of living with limitations?
Yes, so it's always about acknowledging both parts. So acknowledging the strengths and creating the strengths for the child and the family, but then also validating with my lived experience that some things are hard, some things are just tricky, and me being nearly 30, some things don't change and they stay hard, and we just have to work around that.
Okay, so in what ways do you adapt your therapeutic practice to ensure it's sustainable for both your clients and yourself as a practitioner with health considerations?
Yeah, so I've had to learn a lot over the last couple of years working for myself. A big thing has been working out my day structure of when my brain works best. So that could be allocating special times for report writing versus when do I actually thrive being face to face with my clients. So that's been the biggest game changer for me, is navigating when my brain is more adaptable to those different things. And making sure appointment lengths as well reflect clients' needs and what's showing up. There's no reason, we have a 60-minute session booked in. There's no reason that has to actually happen.
Okay, so what barriers does disabled or chronically ill therapists face in the wider allied health field, and how have you navigated them? And how have you navigated them?
Yeah, so I think the biggest one that everyone can resonate with is unrealistic expectations most of the time of that typical 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday. A lot of us have a lot of health appointments or fatigue. We can't sustain full-time jobs, and that can actually impact how employers see how someone's performing naturally, because you might have more time off work or you might be more fatigued 1 week or for a few weeks compared to the ones previously. So when I opened my own practice, yes, it was more work for me, and it is more work in a lot of ways, but because I can decide where my energy's put, it's overall become better for me.
Okay, so how do you see ableism showing up in therapeutic spaces, both for clients and for therapists themselves?
Yeah, from therapists themselves, I think in traditional standards with billing expectations every week, what times you should show up in the office, how your day kind of should look, that can happen quite a lot. And then also for clients and ableism, it can be other people in the client's life putting their expectations that are unreasonable on the clients, whether it's extra family members or teachers, educators. Their expectations actually might be too high, which is an ableist perspective that they should meet neurotypical standards.
Okay, so what changes would you like to see in healthcare and education systems to better support practitioners who live with disability and chronic illness?
I'd love to see flexible working arrangements, as we've been speaking about, and really looking at, well, how can we still meet all the expectations we need to, but how can they look different? Environmental changes around lighting, sound, if you are sitting directly next to someone, or if your preference is to be by yourself more, and not having just a blanket standard for everyone. If you put the therapist first, we know, and we've seen from research as well, everything else gets better afterwards.
Okay, so do you find families are more open to neurodiversity affirming or neuroaffirming approaches when they learn about your own lived experience?
Yes, for the most part, I have, because when my clients don't have the words or ways to describe how they're feeling about something happening, changing, the emotion they're feeling, I can say from my experience, my body feels like this, and that is potentially part of what your child is feeling. So then they can really see, and I kind of create that gap that their child might not be able to express to them just yet.
Okay, so how do you hold space for the emotional regulation of both your clients and yourself when chronic illness impacts your energy or availability?
It can be tricky at times, but I do put a lot of effort in my own self-care and my own therapy. So I have my own amazing occupational therapist that helps me work out strategies to do that both within personal and work life. And in sessions to support the regulation of my clients, I actually also co-regulate them, and that naturally regulates me by modeling and unmasking. We can fidget, we can move, we don't have to do activities we don't really want to do if our body's not feeling good about them. So I'm showing them that it's also really normal to regulate and that I'm making it normal as well with them.
Okay, so what role does transparency play in your practice? For example, sharing or not sharing aspects of your health journey with clients?
Yeah, so I keep it transparent when I need to. So if it comes up and it's beneficial for the family to know why something might be happening for me, I will absolutely tell them. I also consider, from my perspective, I also respect the therapists I receive support from, or, other health professionals, when they just let me know when it's a need to know thing. And that's how I prefer it as well. I keep it realistic too.
Okay, sure. So how does founding NeuroNurture allow you to advocate for both clients and professionals living with a disability?
Creating my own space to work in has given me more energy, and the energy I want to be able to advocate in the ways I need and want to for my clients. So I've got more energy as well, but also having my own space and deciding what kind of clients I work with, where my passions and interests lie, means I can get into schools, because that is an interest where I want to advocate for my clients in. I can get into preschools and daycares to talk to the teachers around neuroaffirming care and practice and what that should look like and needs to look like for my clients.
Okay, so what advice would you give to other therapists with chronic illnesses or disabilities who are considering starting their own practice?
I definitely say don't start from scratch. If you have been watching someone else from the sideline for a bit and you like how they're doing it, reach out to them for support, because there's so many other people that have done it before you and can help guide and help you work out what's going to work best for your brain and for your body.
Okay, so looking ahead, how do you envision the intersection of lived experience and professional expertise of reshaping the future of neurodiversity-affirming or neuroaffirming therapy?
I hope that it becomes more standard that therapy goals are realistic and are actually neuroaffirming for clients day to day, and making sure that environments are changing, not the clients. And that I would love to not have to teach my clients how to mask or unmask if they have that skill. It's just part of them, and the world hasn't reinforced their behaviours that they have to mask to fit in. That would be pretty amazing as a speechy.
Yeah. And one last question that we like to ask everybody here on the Deep Dive podcast. If there's one bit of advice in 30 seconds or less that you would like to give, what would that be?
It would be, if you forget about your own needs, about your own emotional regulation and support, the other things in life will feel much harder. So put them first always, as much as you can.
Okay, and on that note, Alana Cameron, thank you so much for being part of the Deep Dive podcast today.
Thanks so much for having me on, Michael.
To find out more, go to neuronurture.co or go to the Instagram at neuronurture.co.